So this is it. So this is the new Arclight Shop. We've been working feverishly. We've done all of this in 3 weeks now. And so we've got kind of a short-term bay here, wheel and tire machine. So this is, no pulling motors here, but ball joints, control arms, full gas tank, that kind of thing. We haven't really, obviously, like I said, we're still moving in, so we don't really have shipping and receiving completely worked out exactly, but you can see where that kind of goes down. And then also, this is one of it was such an epic deal trying to get into a shop.
What's the square footage?
So we're 20,000. I'm not sure what the office eats up out of it, but this is, we got this last second. We had another building worked out. They were paid for, had insurance on it, wouldn't give us keys. We couldn't get in there. We had equipment on a semi. They wouldn't let us dump it. And so finally, we just kind of sticks in the air and stopped payment on a check. Called another real estate.
Number one?
Yeah. Called the real estate company and said, hey, I need to see what you got available right this second.
Why? They didn't say why?
They said they didn't have to. They didn't have to move. They would move when they got done, whenever they felt like it. But we had all this other stuff done, and so like I said, big mess. Ultimately, we found this place in a day and a half. We got it paid, insurance, locked up, keys in hand in a day and a half. And it was, while it was a pretty rough looking place when we first got here, it's hands down the best shop. So it's got breeze, so the doors on both ends on it. And then we've got a grade level, we've got a dock door and a ramp. And so this really worked out the best. It couldn't have worked out better. Doing some remodeling up front. We had to do a lot of drywall work. The yard was all like a wrecking yard. It was all dirt everywhere and where it all washed out in the street.
That's where the asphalt guys did all their magic.
So we poured a grade, so it didn't even have a parking lot, so we put a parking lot in, paved the yard.
That was just dirt?
Yep, and dirt and rocks and boulders and stuff. And so we got everything fixed out there, got a parking lot poured, and it's looking better than it had. In fact, I had the UPS man come. He goes, I've been on this route 17 years. That's the best this building's ever looked.
Yeah, don't forget, bring my shit early.
Early, first on the route.
So how many lifts?
So we're only running 3. So we run 3, and it's like we set back a four-post drive on, but then so I was really excited we're gonna get it, and then I realized we really needed the floor space more than we needed, and not to mention like overfast not, but 81 cars and not one of them was on a 4-post, and so like this is what works for us, and so run bin pack 10,000 pound lifts, and we run low profile arms, and this is how we get work done. And speaking of, so this is our first long-term builds bay, so we can pull engines here, obviously build the whole car. We wanted to keep them tight. This is more than a TV studio. What this is a manufacturing facility, and then build some cars. So we run, you can see the doors out of this current project are blown apart trying to figure out what was trash, and apparently it was all of it. And so as we work down the line here, so these right here where the forklift and the other truck are, like I said, we're still moving in. So we've got a big workstation that's going to go in here beneath the first 2 windows, which we're really happy to find a warehouse that had natural light and windows. Ceiling could stand to be a little higher, but it definitely works for us. And so we have 2 floor spots. So if we're building on jack stands or doing final assembly and we don't want to be around the lift, and so we've got 2 build spots here. And then down where Jason's trucks are.
And the forklift.
Yeah, and so I'm super. So one of my favorite pieces of equipment is because it moves around and does a whole bunch of big, nasty, heavy work. And so kind of the.
I mean, that's going to get used more than anything.
Hands down.
That thing right there.
Say probably the most used item in the entire shop, bar none, is the forklift. And on top of it, you do stuff with the forklift that you could probably just do by hand, but you got a forklift, so you use a forklift.
You guys are going to have a rodeo. Yeah. You guys are going to have burnouts.
Oh, absolutely.
1 horsepower forklift.
Yeah, so we're working on, so this is basically, so I kind of laid the shop out based on how the workflow happens. So we figure we bring in a truck, flatbed, it's got our equipment, it's got a steel on it, whether it's tubing, whether it's sheet. And so the way it works is, so we're putting up a cantilever rack underneath the last 3 windows here. And so they'll hold all of our tubing on that, even special tubing for frames, and then all of our build tubing, and then sheet and plate on the end of it. So we pull sheet and it'll go on the cart, and we can roll over here to the sheet metal or the shear. So we'll cut it on the shear, and then from there it can move on into the sheet metal station, where we've got a power hammer, English wheel, planishing hammer, and a really wonderful bead roller. The biggest thing about the bead roller that we're using is that it has a big window in it. So a lot of times, if you've already flanged a part and forgot to put the drop panel or something in it, you can run it no problem. You can even run a portion of a fender, a complete fender through it, which is something you definitely can't do with a standard bead roller.
So when you laid this out, I mean, was that challenging? To me, how to figure it out, how many times did you draw it out? Did you say, how am I going to make this flow?
It took me moving all this equipment all day long for 3 days nonstop before I finally figured out the configuration. And then, and even then there was some moving some stuff, some playing and figuring out. And then when it comes to wiring it and where the electricity went, how we do drops and stuff. And it took a little bit. So things were different. They were arranged differently, and basically pick it up on a skid and move it around, pick it up, put it down, pick it up, put it down. And really kind of what I kept going through is I'd go through the whole motions in my head. So I'm a piece of sheet metal, pull it off the racks on the car. I'm going to shear it. What am I going to do next? I'm going to go to the table. I'm going to lay out what I'm going to do. I'm going to come over. I'm going to cut it. All right, we're going to start forming it on each one of these tools. And then I'm like, what am I going to do with it when I'm done forming it? Where's the workstation at? And so I laid it all like that. So manufacturing and fabrication happens on one whole side of the shop, and then all the cars happen on the other side, with the exception of the cut station over here. So I really wanted the whole process to be just really linear. So material comes in, gets racked, pulled off, gets cut. It goes from home station to the first station where it gets shortened, and then from there, like so now that we've cut it and it's a piece of tubing, we've got all of our bending stations and notching stations over here. So we have a 2x4 120 wall mandrel bender.
So
and this
back to this, you're going to make your cuts here. So you put your cutter there, you're going to move over, and so that's why you laid all that out.
So we come over here, we'll pull material, and we'll make a cut, and then we take the material over here. And so if we've already made our cut list, we'll wheel our cart over here and say we're going to bend up a 61 to 66 frame. And so we know I'll already preload into the interface here, so it'll already know what's the job going to be. It's a 61 to 66. It already has the bends in it. We're responsible for loading the depth on it and setting 0. So then once we get the material in, we'll hit go, and it knows what to bend. It'll reset. We'll pull the next set up for the next bend, go again, and then we'll stack it up, and then from there we'll go to a fixture table to get all put together.
This is probably one of the biggest benders I've ever seen. Is it? It
takes a tremendous amount of power to bend 1/8 wall rectangle tubing, and so we're 2x4 bend hard way and easy way on this machine, and it was super fast to learn. It's super intuitive. All the parts for it are super heavy though, so when it comes to making die changes, it's a forklift, and another dude kind of operation. But this really is, as far as Arclight, this is definitely one key feature, because I was subbing out the bending on the frame rails to another guy that has this exact same machine. We were lucky enough to get ourselves in a position where we can have one in-house now, and and thankfully, to a relationship with Bailey, we're able to do so much more in-house now, which has really changed our sub-assemblies, which has been a really
So Bailey obviously got in line. They're on board with you, and I mean, we're going to check it all out, but you've got a lot of high-tech equipment here.
Oh, absolutely. Definitely more so than what we've had in the past. Some of the equipment stuff that you've seen before, some of it's stuff that you haven't, but this is all stuff that make the difference in the products that we build. It's like you can only get so creative with a hammer and a table, And so basically there will be a station here where all the pre-cuts for all the frame rails. So if someone calls in, we make an order, we already have everything pre-cut for it, and it'll be someone's job to keep loaded all the pre-cuts for all the frames. And then down here, this empty space, so we've got a small 2x2 that's getting us by right now on the plasma cutter. We have a 5x10 on order so that we can handle some of the big job stuff. And so this right here, basically where a plasma table goes, and we're going to have a deburring station down here, and we'll rack a lot of our builder parts, because not only just offering full frames for 57 to 79, but in building all these cars in the past, I've found some things that I build that I don't see out there available, and I think will speed up other builders. So that's one thing that we're also banking on, is not just specific Ford parts, but builder parts. And also when it comes to doing the mandrel bent frame rails, we're also taking customer orders and bending like 1 day a week, and so we can deliver full back halves, 4 links, and whatever it is people want, we can put those together. So we don't do customer trucks, but if you design something out, send it to us. We'll send you back an engineer drawing. You sign off, say that's what I want. We can put it together and put it on a pallet and ship it out.
So the assembly guys that are going to be more so Arclight Fab initially, I mean, they got more work than they can handle, depending, right? Because you're going to do all phases of the Ford era to start, and then custom orders, whatever they need, and then facilitating for the guys doing what they're doing.
Yeah, building on the TV, it's like it has its issues, but they're not the same as manufacturing and keeping up with that. But we didn't want to say, obviously we're very focused on the F100, but at the same time though, it's like if you have a C10 and you wanted a back half on it, there's only a couple places to go, and we're now one of them. There's a couple things we'll try and steer you in the direction that we think you ought to go, but if you're dead set on having something and we're capable of doing it, we don't mind providing it. We're just not going to handle install for guys.
Well, and with all this equipment and the tech that you're going to have, when will those guys start? You already have them?
Nope. So right now being September. So I'm not sure that they'll have that at full capacity until it may be after SEMA before we have that at full capacity. And then through the rest of the fall into the winter, and then
work on the show and then work on the assembly.
That's exactly like I said, because the show we kind of slowed up on the development a little bit, but we're ready to get back in the game.
So right now with like Jason and Josh, especially having their specialties, will they have home bays? You know, because I could see like with Josh and his fabrication skills versus more Jason and his mechanical skills.
Yeah, it is a little different. Like I said, because we have a build team, these guys are versed in building whole vehicles, and then when it comes to guys that are assembler welders or machinists, what they'll be doing is they'll have a special job and they'll do that job. So when it comes to my build crew, these guys build cars. I'm gonna have guys that build parts over here.
Yeah.
And so my car builders, they're gonna continue to build cars, and we'll put them together for turnkey projects. So like I said, we don't do customer order. We don't do customer cars except if someone says, I want an F100, I want an Arclight F100, we'll provide that turnkey, and that's it, in 4 generations. So if you want that and you want what we build, we'll provide that. Pick the wheels, maybe pick the color. You know, then we're willing to do that. But other than that, though, we're here to build parts.
Well, and I could see there being a demand for that. Somebody wanting an Arclight F100.
Yep. And like I said, we're happy to do that. But otherwise, we just want to provide the parts for everybody. And like I said, we are willing to do some custom stuff. But in general, it's basically if it doesn't fall in our catalog, then they may have to find a different provider.
So one thing that obviously probably doesn't fall in your catalog that was at the old shop that is not here. There's a paint booth.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. So right now, so we are exploring a couple different options on paint, and it is going to be one hurdle that we're going to have to cross, because obviously I'm heavy into building and manufacturing and fabrication, and not a painter myself or a body guy. If I do next year, it's possible we could extend the building and we could include a paint facility, but for the remainder of this year and probably these first 4 builds, we will be subbing that out.
Yeah, and I know you know a couple really kick-ass painters.
We do.
So I'm sure they'd be more than happy to kind of get involved. I wonder, just for the 49 being there, it was pretty cool to see Mike shoot it, and then you guys work together. I wonder if that makes challenges for the builds when you don't have the paint in-house, and versus when I saw like he would paint the fender, you'd bring it out, and that's got to make things a little easier.
Even more so, it's like sometimes, you know, the painters don't, you know, whoever's running a body shop doesn't exactly see the things the way like I see them, or know what I expect, and so it makes it, having it in-house is so much easier to get all of those things done. And not to mention, like, so doing it out of house, we have a tremendous amount of faith, and then there'll be a tremendous amount of driving to keep up on the projects. But we've talked to a couple painters, and you know, quite frankly, everybody that I trust and is good is really busy, and so that's and we ask a lot of them to drop their other work and move really, really fast for us. And so it is a challenging thing.
Well, if they're good, they're going to be busy right now.
That's
right?
absolutely.
So you're hoping you don't find
especially
a
this
painter
time
who's
of
like,
year.
I'm ready to go.
Yeah, doesn't happen often. So that's definitely a difficult area, but we're going to get through it. And I think we've worked out something really nice. This area here will basically end up being our prototype table for when we're designing new chassis or new large parts. And then we also, you know, we're running a new fixture tables. This is kind of a dream come true. I've always wanted one of these.
Yeah, what is this?
So it's kind of it's a modular fixture table system. So this really helps us with, you can do production work on it, but one of the biggest benefits is like when we're doing one-ofs, when we're building something brand new, it allows us to make it so much more precise right off the back and get to those precise numbers really quickly. Not to mention it's infinitely expandable. And so this right here, for getting things put together right the first time, and then from there we can build a jig off of that, and then we can copy it. So this really accelerates the one-of-one work whenever we want to get it accurate, get it right the first time. And also, it's so many times this can be your 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th hand whenever you're trying to put something together. Yeah. So this is really exciting. And then a couple things. One thing we've never had before is a press brake. And so, you know, the fewer seams we can put in something, the less welding we can do, the stronger it's going to be. And so we're really excited to have added a press brake to the facility. And then the Haas machine in 18, we're going to start cutting wheels for our trucks, offering them in mix-match bolt patterns and offsets for guys that are doing Crown Vic swaps, don't want to change their 9. And then we'll see how that end of things goes. One disappointing thing for me is while I run the machine and I draw, there's a lot of guys that are much faster and much better at it. So having to tell someone what I want and then, you know, have a designer work with and then have a machinist come in. But ultimately that's how we're going to be successful, is have people that are really specialized and really good at what they do. And so, like I said, obviously our machine shop's not separated from the fabrication shop. And so obviously there's room to grow, but we have a facility that we can change up. And so cars over there, machine shop fabrication over here, paperwork happens up there.
Frame assembly.
Yeah,
yeah, because like you said, is there really enough errand to go around? I mean, like you
no,
said, these guys that are so specialized.
Yep, and so that's definitely, you know, having to build the right team and trust the guys to, you know, to explain what I want, have them understand it and want the same things too. And so that's definitely a big challenge. But putting together the right team is a necessary part of being successful, because there aren't enough hours, there's not enough hands to get this thing that's done. And so to accomplish big dreams, it takes a big team. So.
Yeah, this is, I mean, the amount of tools. Now, I would almost think that, like, some of these guys, do you feel like they're proficient in all this? Because this stuff it's so like, many awesome tools to get to that level.
That's right. If you don't have experience with them, then you walk in and you're not hitting home runs right out of the box if you haven't used the machines before. The cool thing is that when you're experienced in this environment and doing this work, a lot of this stuff comes super easy. Yeah. If you understand what it's supposed to do and you're geared that way to be able to do that, it's a couple instructions, start you off on a couple easy projects, 2 weeks into it, you're screaming along.
Well, somebody's going to town here.
Yeah, so. Absolutely. Yeah. So we had that right there was. Is
that a Chevy hubcap?
So that's a fellow that wasn't a sheet metal guy yesterday. So
I think he's ready. I think he's ready.
So that was a little Kaufman education course in about 2 hours for a non-sheet metal guy. So
yeah, well, he did a good job.
I think so.
Yeah, I think watching your guys learn, and like you said, just growing on all this stuff. Now, this table I've seen before.
So this table has been with me since I was 19. So Scott McMillan was on. Me and him have been friends a very long time through high school and stuff. And his family built all kinds of stuff, oil field equipment.
And he was on season 1, right?
He was on season 1. He's gone on. He has Scott Rod Shop, and their hot rod shop do all kinds of work. But so this belonged to his uncle, and they built Nemesis shifter carts, which is where I first learned. So when I was a shifter at Nemesis, every once in a while, his cousin Robert, which is an incredible driver and a fabricator, and he would go, here's a cut list, and so he'd cut material, and then he would go do the thing with it, and I got to see this stuff happen. And it's first place I ever used a mill, first place I ever used a TIG machine, first place I ever used a lathe. And we've seen some things go right, seen some things go wrong. But this was the setup table in the machine shop where they would do the shifter carts. And then, and so I did a lot of learning on this table, did a lot of work on this table. And then obviously, early in my career, me and the table weren't working hand in hand. But when I moved into my first big shop, I made a call to Scott's uncle, and he made me a great deal on the table. It had about the thickness of the table. It was about that thick and rust on top. It took me about 2 days to grind it all off. And so I have worked on this table almost every day since 2000 into 2009 or so. And the table's been kind of been in my circle of shops I've used and worked ever since I was 19. So me and this big heavy bastard have been around for a while.
I mean, I'm thinking you need a crew, not only the forklift, but
I'll tell you this: it's
triple axle trailer.
It's given my trailer a workout more than once. So.
Yeah, this thing's rad. Welders, you've got everything. I mean, obviously you're with Lincoln on this deal, so you've got Lincoln behind you, you got Bailey behind you. You have more tools.
Which is an unbelievable and overwhelming blessing that these people that we're able to, obviously because of the TV show, and then they also believe in the work that we're doing or the work that we're about to do. And so we've got such good backers, we've got such good help with this, and then it's like the right people are playing, the right tools are here, the right people are here. It's like I've got to be a moron to screw this up.
Best of the best.
That's if you're gonna do it right.
Yeah. Now what's gonna happen up front?
So up front in the retail area, so rather than just slinging Arclight t-shirts and hats and dog leashes and stuff like that that's got our logo on it, it's like I'm such a big fan of the
You're gonna have dog leashes?
Yeah, I love my dog.
Pitchfork arrows?
Yeah, we might have some pitchfork arrows. I got to develop the mechanism to shoot a pitchfork arrow, so that's in development.
He shoots your eye out.
So he shoot you and all of your friends' eyes out. So, so up front retail area, we're kind of a lot of the things that I like. So there's a fellow that makes some shirts out of Mississippi and incredible hand-built clothing where I'm going to sell that as well. Local leather, goods builders and knife builders and stuff like that. So it'll be a little bit of this whole world, the things that we think are cool, whether it's from the shoes to other clothing brands to accessories and stuff. So people that come here want to see the shop, want to get some Arclight swag. We kind of want to encourage them to see other artists, other builders, what they do.
Will you showcase them specifically every month? Or
we don't have enough of them to have a rotator right now. But if we end up having enough builders, it's like just because we build cars and someone builds belts or wallets or leather goods or bags doesn't mean they don't put the same pride in their work that we put in ours. And saying we can appreciate craftsmanship across the spectrum. And so what's one thing is like if I think it's cool, if I'm impressed by it, then I want to sell it up front. And I want to offer it to people that come here to see us, to see what we're into. I'd like to expose them to something maybe they otherwise wouldn't see. And then we're going to have a pro desk, and the pro desk is something that's really kind of John's baby. John's going to run. He's going to sell all of our builder parts, and then all of the companies that we deal with will also deal their products. Once again, we're not interested in doing installs, but we are absolutely into providing people the right products and the right know-how.
Yeah, I think just going back to it's like you're supporting the people that are. We talked about it earlier, whether it's a hobby or a craft. Some guys working on belts, knives, whatever it is. There's so much talent out there.
Sure.
And to bring that and showcase it, they may never have the platform that they could have here and the exposure that you're going to provide them.
And that's it. It's like there's so many things I'm impressed with, and we expect to have quite a few people through the door here. We saw it over at the other shop, and if we experience half of that, that'll be an overwhelming success for us. And I just wanted to offer them more than a gift shop experience. And so they're here. Maybe they came to see us and they want to pick up an Arclight shirt, but I'd like to expose them to a couple of things that I think that if they like the things that I like, they're gonna like this.
Now, there was one room that's up front.
Yeah.
Now, I probably won't need it as much as you will.
I don't think you
will.
But
I think that's probably one of the raddest ideas.
So it's like we're a bunch of scruffy mutt-looking people whenever the proper professionals aren't around, and so we're planning on putting a barbershop up front. So Dapper Dan, he's been cutting my hair for several years now, and I've always looked like a homeless bum, and so he's really done a good job of straightening me out. And so we're going to put in a barbershop up front, and I think it really completes the experience. And it's like a guy that appreciates a nice sharp truck definitely can appreciate a good hairdo, a good haircut. And I'll tell you, ZZ Top said it best, as a sharp dressed man women love.
Yeah.
So.
Now, will that be something that he's here once a week?
So we're planning on a full-time deal. If our doors are open, so is the barbershop, and Dappa will probably be here 2 days a week and rotate some of the other barbers in, and it's a real deal barbershop all the way. So even though we're here to build cars, we don't offer a service. Dappa definitely is here offering a service, and an artist in his own right, and so are his guys. And once again, we talk about a trade. I mean, that's definitely a trade.
Oh yeah, without a doubt. And I think. Your guys the guys that you do have, they are pretty well groomed.
Yeah, dapper young men.
They got some good facial hair going, and I could see where they could use it. Obviously, Freeman is he's easy on the eyes. So
pretty boy.
I'm as straight as they go, I think, but Freeman's pretty good looking man.
Yeah, and definitely, he's really wrecking the place around here because he's also about 3 feet taller than everybody else. So we've got air hoses up high, and we've got electrical outlets hanging from the ceiling. Now I clear them just fine. Jason, Jeremy, everybody else clears them fine. But Freeman's going to need to wear a helmet around the shop. Yeah.
Bump. There you go, right there. He made it. Yeah, that's Freeman's helmet. So we get Brooks in there. We can trim him up a little bit. We can.
Gotta hope so. It look like Samson in the back room. So he's Brooks runs our digital media. So on Instagram and Facebook stuff. That's his domain. He handles that stuff. So I talk to him. I talk to him quite a bit every day, tell him what we want to do, where we want to go, and he knocks it out for us. Not to mention I'm somewhat technologically a disaster, and so he helps me sort that out quite a bit. And so that's really awesome. We try and film some other stuff. We've got a lot of stuff in the media page that we're holding on to. We haven't released yet, and so we've got 2 videos. Brooks and I started a little video series, which is for builders, about builders, and about this experience. And it's always interesting having everyone tell their story because they all tell it a different way. But you hear a lot of things that resonate through every different builder. And so we're working on that series, and so we've got our hands in just about everything here. And like I said, one of the biggest things for me is basically just exposing people to the things that I absolutely love because I don't kind of like it. This is what I live for.
Well, you're taking essentially your stardom, if you will, and to me, what I think is cool is you're showcasing on what you like. And you're giving, like you said, these builders with this video that you're working with Brooks or a skill set or a craftsman from a knife that they may make. It's like, hey, I probably didn't have that opportunity, but how can Aaron Kaufman and Arclight give back? Well, the best way to give back is to showcase those people, and now they're going to be able to grow. Honestly, just like you're allowing me to come in here, and it's a cool way that you're giving back to people who probably wouldn't have that opportunity based upon who you are and who you've built yourself up to because you had that same opportunity.
And you know what, 100%, it couldn't be more, I guess it couldn't be more true, but at the same time though, I appreciate, so when we talked about earlier about advancing my career, 25 years, 20 plus years, so it's not just in the experience by having to build really quickly, but what it is the people I've met, the phone numbers I have, because when I said before, the only thing we're really good at is getting solutions, finding answers, and a lot of times those answers come from other people's knowledge, because in a lifetime of building cars, I couldn't amass what knowing all these people, the information it allows. And so the biggest deal for me is shared experience, because this is such a big ride. There's a lot of people that can help. There's a lot of people that would enjoy it. There's a lot of people I enjoy taking the ride with.
There you go. If you guys want to get your hair cut, you want to get F100 built, a frame, you want to watch a cool show, Aaron Kaufman, Arclight, this coming spring.
Yeah, in February we'll be on.
Yeah, February the show will be on. You can get gear as soon as this fall, after SEMA?
Absolutely. So products coming up pretty quick. LST, obviously, we're going to be stacked at LST. And as far as having the retail area open and everything blowing up there, man, so I'm hoping before SEMA.
I'm a believer in good things happen to good people. Great things happen to great people. I'm thinking this is going to be, the shop's going to be full. And I just see really cool things. So I want to thank you for letting us come into the shop. Again, you're giving back by allowing us to be here, and I think it's really a way for you to pay it forward. And I hope to do the same thing for somebody, soon, just the same that you're doing for us, the C10 Nation, the F100 Nation, F10 Talk, and Arclight Talk. And I think this is going to be fun to watch us grow, and I'm really excited for you in the future. I
really appreciate it. And I appreciate y'all coming out here and spend a little bit of time. I know you don't have a lot of it, but to come out here and spend it with us in an extremely hot shop, I'm honored that y'all come out and want to see it all. We put a lot of heart and a lot of soul and a lot of blood into it, and we're very proud of it. And I'm very proud of my team, and I couldn't be more happy about the future. Thanks for coming out.
Thanks, buddy.
Yep.
That's awesome. C10 Talk out.